a godbrother of ours and a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, is in a very serious condition. And His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj, and I'm sure it's known to all of you that he was in a coma for a while, and his consciousness has lapsed into external consciousness from time to time, but his condition is still very serious, and he's still in the intensive care unit in the Hinduja hospital in Mumbai. And personally, for myself, it's devastating that such a dedicated, stalwart preacher of the Krishna consciousness movement is placed in such a situation. But it's making me realize how much I need to and want to pray that he remains in our association. And I thought I should say a little something to remind all of you that Krishna certainly does hear the prayers of the Vaishnavas. And if we have a very strong desire, and if we pray, then hopefully he can remain in our association. But at this time his condition is still critical, and he hasn't been very conscious. It was the result of hemorrhaging on the stem of the brain, which appeared due to long neglect of his health. Doctors don't know exactly why. Whatever external reasons there are there, for us, we should look at it internally as a time for prayer, and whatever the circumstances of the outcome, we are confident that His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj is under Krishna's protection. So maybe you can chant an extra round a day, make a prayer before Radha Gopi Ballava, have special kirtan, whatever you can do to show Krishna that we want him to stay in our association. I wanted to mention that first because it's on my mind every day. Not a day goes by when I'm not finding out the latest on his health. So, with that said, today is an event for many of the devotees here who are taking Harinam initiation. We also have 2 devotees who are taking Brahman initiation. And we just chanted the mantra Om Pavitro Pavitro Va Sarvavastam Katopi Va Yaksmarid Pundari Gaksha Sabhaya Bhyantara Suchi, which is chanted at every fire sacrifice, which means whether either pure or impure, having passed through many conditions of material life, if one remembers the lotus-eyed Krishna, one becomes both internally and externally clean. Therefore, remembrance of the Lord, remembrance of Krishna is our method for internal and external purification. Krishna is Pavitram. He is completely pure. And when we open our hearts and associate with that which is pure, as we know, the result is our hearts gradually become freed from all kinds of material contamination. Remembrance of the Lord is essential. Smartavyam satatam Vishnu, Smartavyona jatu jit, sarvaviri nishedasya etira eva kinkara. Krishna must be remembered, and he must never be forgotten. All the rules and all the prohibitions which are given in the scriptures are meant to serve these 2 principles. So, this is an important verse which helps us to remember that whatever favorable activities or positive prescribed activities we accept, which are helpful for the benefit of our Krishna consciousness, we should accept those things which are favorable, and we should reject those things which are unfavorable. Just as we say, Sarva Vidi Nishedasya, that there are vidis and nishedas. There are vidis, which are positive prescribed activities, and nishedas are things that we we give up. In the same way, when one takes initiation, he takes vows that every day he will chant the prescribed number of rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and he will refrain from certain activities, prohibited activities. He makes vows that no intoxication, no illicit sex, no gambling, no eating fish or eggs. These vows are taken by each candidate at the time of initiation. They will avoid certain prohibited activities, and on the positive side, that they'll chant the prescribed number of rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This is meant to help us to remember the Lord, which is our method for becoming both internally and externally clean. Remembrance of the Lord is actually not a very easy thing, as Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, that one should always remember him. But he says, if you cannot remember me constantly, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, and this way cultivate a desire to attain me. As we personally experience that method of smaranam, or complete remembrance of the Lord, it is not a very easy thing to obtain. And the mind is very restless, and we're always thinking of so many other things besides Krishna that will enter into the mind. But chanting Hare Krishna is prescribed, especially in this age of Kali, as the most effective way of remembering the Lord. In the verse in the Bhagavad Gita, Anta Kali Chamameva Smaran Mukva Kalevaram, where Krishna says, whoever remembers me at the time of giving up this body at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. What does Prabhupada explain in his commentary in reference to Smaranam? He mentions that therefore one should incessantly chant Hare Krishna. This is our Smaranam. This is our method of remembrance of the Lord. And if we look, there are actually examples given in the scripture by Srila Jiva Goswami, Srila Sanatana Goswami, where it is explained that chanting Hare Krishna is the most powerful method, and it is actually even considered to be superior because it leads to smaranam, or remembrance of the Lord. Lord Chaitanya, in his instructions to Sanatana Goswami, he explained that among the different ways of devotional service, the 9 prescribed methods of devotional service, these processes, these 9 methods, are considered to be most powerful because they give one the potency to obtain Krishna and to obtain ecstatic love for him. So first he prefaces it by saying these 9 processes: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Archanam, Vanyanam, Dasam, Sakyanam, Edam. What did I voice one? Padasevanam, yes. But he describes this hearing, chanting. The 9 methods are considered to be the most effective ways to actually attain Krishna and ecstatic love for him. But he says, of these 9 processes, among these 9 processes, the most important is chanting Hare Krishna. And he says that therefore, if one chants Hare Krishna, being very careful to avoid the 10 offenses in the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, the result will be is that he will achieve very quickly ecstatic love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Lord Chaitanya himself also, in instructions to Sanatana Goswami, he describes the 9 processes, which include smaranam, but then he emphasizes after that, but of all these 9 processes, most important is chanting Hare Krishna. So, therefore, the candidates who are accepting Harinam initiation today, they are accepting initiation into the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, and it's understood that a certain element of faith must be there in the process of chanting Hare Krishna. Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Kahida Sudita Nischaya Krishna Bhakta Sarva karma kritahaya. Krishna bhakti kali sarva karma kritahaya. The Shraddha means firm, confident faith that by executing devotional service and chanting the holy name of the Lord, if one actually has this faith, then automatically all of one's subsidiary duties can be fulfilled. But conversely, it is understood that even if one perfectly executes all his subsidiary duties, but if he doesn't take shelter in chanting the holy name of the Lord, they all remain incomplete. So it is the chanting of the holy name of the Lord which is the essence of advancing, specifically in this age of Kali Yuga, the prescribed method for transforming the consciousness and for actually gradually, Cheto Darpana Majnam, gradually cleansing the heart of the unwanted desires which are obstacles in the path of devotional service. If a devotee has this faith that if I simply go on chanting Hare Krishna every day, and that is the vow that the candidates are actually making today. They're making the vow that I have that faith now. I have the faith that every day I will go on chanting Hare Krishna. So, of course, there is one verse in the Bhagavatam, Prahlad Maharaj, he speaks about accepting vows. He says, "Oh my friends, you cannot please the Supreme Personality of Godhead even if you become expert Brahmins or advanced in etiquette or vast learning, nor by austerities, nor by sacrifices, nor by accepting vows, nor by chastity can one please the Lord. The Lord is pleased only when one has unflinching, unalloyed devotional service to Him. Without sincere devotional service, everything else is simply a show." So Prahlad Maharaj explains in this verse that even superior than just accepting vows, because it's not just by accepting vows, neither is it becoming Brahmin, expert Brahmins, that one will please the Lord. Neither will be one becomes very advanced in studying the Vedic literatures, he said these things actually cannot capture the attention of the Lord. While essentially, if we want to attract the attention of the Lord, a devotee has to show his unflinching faith and unflinching love and dependence upon the Lord. So our best way to express that is through chanting, through kirtan, and through the devotee's individual chanting of japa. And that is specifically the prescribed method for pleasing the Lord in this age of Kali. As Prahlad Maharaj said, without sincere devotional service to Krishna, everything else is a show. So what should our unflinching determination be? Our unflinching determination to be that no matter what any condition of life that I may be in, I'll never give up chanting Hare Krishna. That should be our unflinching determination. And if Krishna sees that the devotee is actually not only made that vow within his heart, but he has that desire. He's awakened that desire within his heart. So that faith has to be there. That faith has to be there that chanting Hare Krishna is more important, it's superior to everything else. We may have so many other duties that we have to perform, but actually, every day, in fact, we oftentimes quote the example of that verse, Smartavyam Satatam Vishnu, Vismartavyam Najatu Chit, Sarva Vidi Nishedasya Etira Eva Kinkara. That verse which is given by Rupa Goswami, and the commentary which has been given by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur on that verse. He says, a very interesting commentary, which he explains Satatam, the meaning of the word Satatam. Now, Satatam means always. You look at most translations of the word Satatam, Krishna says, Satayam Kirtayanto Mam. Devotees are always chanting my glories. Tesham Satatam Yuktanam Vajatam Piti Purvakam. To those who are always endeavoring to worship me with love. So wherever we see the translation of Satatam, it always is translated as always. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in this verse, he gives an explanation of how the word satatam in this verse means something different. He said that there are prescribed activities which are favorable for Krishna consciousness, and there are prohibited activities that one should refrain from. And he said, because this verse is just explaining the necessity of remembering what the prohibited activities are, it means that one can't always think of Krishna. It's not possible. Because one who always thinks of Krishna doesn't have to worry about what are the prohibited activities. He doesn't have to think, I'm not supposed to do that. He doesn't think that way. He's always remembering Krishna. Why should he be worried about things that he has to avoid? There's nothing he has to avoid because he's situated on the perfect platform of always remembering Krishna. So the mere fact that it's mentioned in this verse that nishedas, certain activities must be avoided. Prescribed positive activities must be accepted and certain activities must be avoided. It means that you're not able to always remember Krishna. So therefore he says, what does satatam mean in this verse? It means every day. Every day. That is how we understand. Every day we have to make some effort to remember Krishna. That is our commitment. If every day we make a commitment that I will remember Krishna by chanting Hare Krishna, by praying to Krishna, by worshipping the Lord, by rendering service, the different 9 prescribed methods of devotional service, but the most powerful is chanting Hare Krishna. That is the most powerful. And it is the most recommended process. Not just empty chanting, but chanting with faith, chanting with a desire to achieve the ultimate goal of chanting, which is to realize our loving relationship with the Supreme Lord. So it begins at this stage when faith is awakened, Shraddha is awakened, and after Shraddha there's Sadhu Sangha, and Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, and then Nishta, and then Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava, Prema, all these different levels of advancement in devotional service. So, therefore, a devotee first, what happens is that Shraddha is awakened within the heart, that faith. That is the beginning stage. When one has that faith, associates with devotees, and then of course, as Rupa Goswami has explained, then in the prescribed duties that are meant to be performed, then after Shraddha and association with devotees, then one should take initiation and accept a spiritual master. So, and then under the guidance and instructions of the spiritual master, one should gradually progress in his development of faith in chanting the holy name of the Lord, so that he can ultimately achieve the perfectional stage of chanting, which is pure love of God. So, this is a little bit something about chanting Hare Krishna, which of course, as we know, is an essential part of this ceremony today. The devotees are taking their vows to chant a prescribed number of rounds today. There are also some devotees who are accepting second initiation today. Jayapataka Maharaj actually once told me, it's kind of a humorous, he told me something he heard from Prabhupada. He said, Prabhupada told him, he said, the second initiation is a more serious commitment, and it's the duty of the disciple to be a proper representative of the spiritual master. And he said, Prabhupada told him, he said, just like if you have a young baby in your lap, and if the baby passes stool, you can accept it. It's a young baby. He said, but if you have a grown-up son, he said, you have a problem. So he said, Prabhupada told him this. He said, when devotees are taking second initiation, is don't. This is a big commitment, big responsibility, that it's time to be an example and to not falter. It's a more serious commitment, and Prabhupada, if we look in his letters, and he's oftentimes emphasized, in fact in my initiation letter, and Prabhupada wrote him, it wasn't in reference to me, but it was in reference to other devotees who were taking initiation at the same time when as I was being initiated. Prabhupada said that not everybody will take second initiation. He said, well, second initiation is for those, he said specifically, who can rise early in the morning, they can chant their prescribed number of rounds every day. They are studying scripture and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Prabhupada expected a certain standard that would be there for those who were taking second initiation. So, at that little story Jayapataka Maharaj said, I guess it's in reference to the commitment that one has when takes second initiation. There's a verse in the Bhagavatam, Dharmascha satyam chatamastapascha amratsiram hishtikshana suya yagascha danam cha dvitishrutam cha vrtani vai dvadasa brahmanasya. This verse actually describes the 12 qualities of a Brahmin. A Brahmin must be perfectly religious, and he must be truthful, must be able to control his mind and senses. He must be able to perform austerities and be detached, humble, tolerant. He must be not be envious of anybody. He must be expert in performing sacrifices and giving whatever he has in charity. He should be fixed in devotional service, and he should be very expert in the knowledge of studying of the Vedas. These are the 12 qualities of a Brahmin. We hear this and we may wonder, wow, am I ready for this? It actually describes the qualities or characteristics of the Mahabhagavata, of a devotees on a very advanced level, but actually these are described as the qualities of a Brahmin. Religious, truthful, honest, samodhamatapasaucham kshancha ajama evacha jnana vijnanam astikam. As Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, he describes one of them as honesty. He must self-control. The same references are there in that verse in the Bhagavad Gita as in the verse that we just quoted. So the Brahmin must be truthful. He must be able to perform austerities and be detached, humble. Brahmin should always be very humble in his dealings with others, and he's supposed to teach by his example. Prabhupada actually expected that very much, that when a devotee takes second initiation, that he be very exemplary in his behavior. It's understood that he's actually considered to be, he or she, in this case it's also she, should be exemplary members of society. So there's many more things we can say in relationship to rabbinical life, but we weren't going to speak too long this morning. We also want to hear from His Holiness Candramauli Maharaj a little bit about share with us some of his realizations that for all of our benefits about the importance of initiation today. So we'll let him speak, and then we'll speak we'll call the individual devotees to accept their vows, come before the deities, for the spiritual master, to accept their vows and to accept their beads and to receive their names. This is part of the Pancharatrika process. Tapa, Pundra, Nama, Mantra, and Diksha. Tapa means one begins a life of austerities and actually prepares himself for spiritual life. Pundra means marking the body with Vaishnava Tilak, or Urdhva Pundra, and also described that when a devotee actually voluntarily accepts austerities, then he actually develops an effulgence he becomes very effulgent, which is another characteristic of a devotee who's voluntarily accepted some austerities, and then he becomes qualified for nama, where he receives the holy name of the Lord and is given a name which helps him to remember Krishna. And then after nama, there's diksha, when one is given mantra diksha, when one chants on the Gayatri mantras, and therefore becomes qualified for yaga, which is worship of the deities. These are the path of Pancharatrika Vidhi. Of course, we know we're following both the path of Bhagavat Vidhi and Pancharatrika Vidhi, but the mantras which the devotees are given at their Brahman initiation, their Pancharatrika mantras and Pancharatrika Gayatris, along with the Vedic mantra, the Brahma Gayatri mantra. They are given 7 mantras, and so that they can perform the path of Pancharatrika Vidhi, which is engaged in worshipping the deities as part of their process of purification for remembering Krishna, which is the ultimate goal of all of our activities, is to both path of Bhagavat Vidhi and Pancharatrika Vidhi. Bhagavat Vidhi is the glorification of the name, fame, qualities, and pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the Pancharatrika Vidhi is a worship of the form of the Lord in his Archamurti, the deity form, where a devotee becomes qualified to perform that service after receiving mantra diksha. So maybe Maharaj, you would like to add a little something or clarify something that maybe which I spoke.
Hare Krishna. Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharani Visarisa Surya Paschatya Desataya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thanking Maharaj for such a beautiful expression of the philosophical teachings that surround the essence of Krishna consciousness, and that is to always remember Krishna, and specifically how to always remember Krishna through the process of Harinam Sankirtan, chanting the holy names. I'd also like to mention, as Maharaj mentioned from his heart, his concern and his love for Jagannatha Maharaj. And I also encourage all the devotees, because one point that Maharaj made, which is really the essence of the whole thing that surrounds how Krishna does things, is that he does respond to the prayers of the devotees. So the devotees, from their heart and very seriously, make some vow, make some austerity, perform some puja, chant some rounds, or just offer your concern to the lotus feet of the Lord for the company of Jagannatha Maharaj. Then we see that, as Prabhupada expressed in his own situation when he was also about to leave in 1974, he said, when you do this, please do this seriously, because the serious offering of that type of concern really moves the Lord to act. So I just wanted to say the same thing, because it's also been on my mind. We're in such a wonderful Vaishnava that he's given his life to Srila Prabhupada's movement in such an amazing way. And we want him to stay with us. And Krishna wants what the devotees want, so we can make that clear, that's what we want. Now to the concern of the movement, initiation. In 1974, in July, in Germany, Srila Prabhupada was at a university speaking to a large group of students. and he was explaining very enthusiastically that the living entity has been through all 8 million species of life. And he emphasized that point. And he explains that to get to the human form of life is very rare. The other species of life far outnumber the human species of life. And to come to the human species of life, human forms of life, is as the opportunity to make a solution to all problems. And it's the opportunity to reawaken our eternal loving relationship with the Lord. And to meet a bona fide spiritual master and to take to the process of bhakti yoga, devotional service of the Lord. It is so rare. It is so rare. Prabhupada gave one example to show how rare it is. He said, imagine this huge, vast ocean. And in this ocean, there's a log floating. And in that log, there's a knothole. And somewhere in that ocean, there's a frog. And that frog decides to surface, come up. And he just happens to come through that hole in the log. And that was Srila Prabhupada's explanation of Rupa Goswami's point in the Nectar Devotion, that devotional service, pure devotional service, is very rare. So we should take this opportunity to begin the path of devotional service very seriously. It's the most serious thing you can possibly do in your life, because everything we've done before that has led us to this point. And as Srila Prabhupada says, initiation really means beginning. You're beginning your path back home, back to God, back to the eternal mode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, and taking it seriously means, as Maharaj so clearly explained, following the process with that type of conviction, chanting the holy names, associating with devotees, and following the principles as carefully and as seriously as we can. And understand there's no more important thing we can do. Whatever else we're doing in our life has meaning and value in relationship to our relationship with Krishna, our devotional service. Otherwise, it's just external, it's based on the body, and ultimately it's destroyed in the course of time. But this is never destroyed, it's always increasing according to how seriously we take to this process. And initiation, actually, we're doing the formal ceremony, and that's important. That consummates actually what is already in the heart. Real initiation is in the heart. When the disciple decides to surrender their life to the lotus feet of the Lord through the Lord's bona fide representative, the spiritual master, that is the real initiation. So to cultivate that mood of surrender, that means initiation actually is an ongoing process. It's not that once the ceremony is over, I'm initiated and I have my name and then I go on. No, actually, we have to renew that mood of initiation by always carefully remembering the instructions of the spiritual master and considering that first and foremost in our life. And with that consciousness, we can access the mercy of the Lord, because it is really the seriousness of the devotee that allows one to practice the process successfully. And that seriousness comes by having that type of faith. Faith in the words of the Lord, faith in the words of the scriptures, faith in the words of the spiritual master. And that's explained. Yasya Devi Para Bhakto, Yata Devi Tadagu Tasyai Katita Yarta, Prakasana Mahatmana. One who has, the word is implicit faith, not just faith, but faith that is without any other consideration in the words of the spiritual master and the scripture, all the imports of the Lord and the spiritual master, all the imports of all Vedic knowledge is automatically revealed within the heart of that devotee with that type of faith. And faith is not dry. Faith is not dead. Faith is faith in action. That means if I have faith, but I don't carry it out, then it really means I don't have faith. Faith means to show that faith in action. And so Maharaj nicely explains that is emphasized by remembering Krishna through the process of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Throughout, he keeps told us to come down, Nam Kali Kamasanasana, Nata Parayo Payo, Sarva Vedashu Drishyate. In this verse it says, one can search through all Vedic literatures and one cannot find a more sublime process of religion and spiritual practice than is found in chanting these 32 syllables, 16 words of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Over and over again, verse after verse, emphasized. When you want to make a point, you really do it by emphasis. And therefore the emphasis on this particular essence, aspect of spiritual practice is unlimited. And that was brought up by Maharaj's talk so powerfully, and I got that realization in the sense that when it really comes back to our practice, our relationships with devotees, our reading of the scriptures, our studying of the scriptures, our worship of the Lord, our practice of our activities within the temple and outside, all really center on the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Without that, or without not just chanting 16 rounds, but chanting in such a way that we understand the importance of the chanting and we put our time, energy, concentration, and everything into that process. Now that I have 16 rounds, I have to get my rounds done. If you have the idea, well, I have to get my rounds done, that's what you'll get. You'll get your rounds done. That's it. Maybe something. But we have to understand that this is purification of the heart. This is where knowledge is revealed. This is what helps us to remember Krishna. This protects us from the influence of the material energy. And this would actually pleases the Lord. So there's so much connected to this process of remembering the Lord through glorifying the Lord by chanting the holy names of the Lord. And then, to carry out our vows, as Maharaj so nicely explains, using that word satata. When one is remembering Krishna through chanting of the holy name, then whatever we have to do or not do becomes, it's just a feature of that remembrance. It comes automatically. It's not like there's a big confusion within the mind. Because Krishna, when Krishna is remembered, he guides the devotee according to that devotee's, what we say, surrender remembrance of him, and chanting the holy names of the Lord. So please take this initiation very seriously. It's the most important thing. And this is actually what we've been bringing, we've been struggling to come to, the opportunity for the perfection of life, to ultimately to awaken our natural love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead and devotion. So this initiation process is the beginning. It's actually the beginning, not the end. It's not the end. It's not like, okay, I'll initiate it, that's it. It's actually the beginning of the process. One time when, to illustrate that point I mentioned earlier about initiation being in the heart, one time Prabhupada gave initiation to one person, and the next day the person left. And the devotees were shocked and astonished, and they asked Prabhupada, how is it he had initiation and he left? Prabhupada said he was never initiated. He was never initiated. So just to emphasize the point that it's more than just a ceremony. Of course, you're all sitting here, not because of the ceremony, because you've shown through your dedication and through your faith in the spiritual master in the process that you're serious. But we'll be challenged. That's the point. We're going to be challenged. And there's going to be obstacles, there's going to be difficulties, and there's going to be sometimes even impossible situations. And we must maintain that faith and that surrender unto the Lord through the Lord in all difficulties. And when Krishna sees that, he provides the ability, to overcome the difficulties and make advancement through these things. So if we have that faith, then there is no difficulties. The only difficulty is the creation in our minds that we create. That's the difficulty. There's no difficulty. You have to sort of simply keep that principle in mind, that the instructions of my spiritual master is my life and soul. And as Srila Prabhupada emphasized when he was asked, what is your most important instruction? And Prabhupada said, my most important instruction to my disciples is every day they chant 16 rounds on beads without fail. That's what he said. That was his answer. So again, emphasizing the essence of what Maharaj explained. To remember Krishna through chanting the holy names. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
I'm really so happy to be here. Thank you all for allowing me to come. And when I heard this ceremony was happening, I did everything I could to come. Somehow Krishna allowed me to come. Thank you very much. Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
So there are 4 devotees who will be taking Harinam initiation today, who receive the deeds, accepting vows. I also, although they mentioned these 2 other devotees, Achyuta Das, who will be taking second initiation today, who was initiated almost 3 years ago, and he is serving in the Hartford Temple community, is a preacher, he wishes to worship the deities, and he wishes to make further progress in Krishna consciousness, so he is ready to accept the responsibility of taking second initiation. And that is happening today. And also, I'd like to say that Parvati Devi Dasi, she's also here to accept second initiation today. And I'm very happy I can serve her in this way. She's been a devotee of the Krishna consciousness movement for, 30, how many years? 32 years? Huh? 32 years. Yeah. And I take this personally as a service to her, to help her in her service, and a service to her husband, who was a very, very dear friend of mine, Bhushara Prabhu, and I'm really very happy that I can serve him this way. They've been married for over 30 years, right? Have 4 children, all in Krishna consciousness. Very exemplary householder couple in New York. Very enthusiastic preacher. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity to serve all of you and assist you somehow in whatever way that I can in your service. So these 2 devotees will be taking second initiation today, and then we'll call upon the devotees for their Harinam initiation. First we'll call, you should come forward of your obeisances, and then we'll ask you to accept your vows of initiation, and then we'll give you your beads and your name. So, Dev Narayan, come first. I've known Dev Narayan for I don't know how many years, a long time. Maybe we can do it in such a way that he can offer their obeisances this way, so that he doesn't have to point their feet to Prabhupada.
Try that again.
No, not this way. No, I don't want you to point your feet to the deities either. I want you to. I don't want you to point your feet to P.R. Mohawk either. So we're very happy that you're ready for making this step now in Krishna consciousness. Dave Narayan has approached me with a sincere desire for many years, and somehow this desire is bearing fruit today, that he's accepting his vows and taking Vaishnava initiation. And we'll let you accept your vows, and then we'll give you your beads.
I accept my vows.
Oh, what are they?
No mediating, no illicit relationship, no intoxication and gambling, and chant 16 rounds every day.
Minimum.
Minimum, yeah. At least.
Yeah.
Not maximum.
All right. So we have accepting you today on behalf of Srila Prabhupada and the Guru Parampara as an initiated disciple. Chanted on your beads, and we've given you a new name. And this is a name of Lord Ramachandra. Your new name is Dasarath Sutta Das.
Wondering how you arrive at that. I'll leave that for another day. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Beautiful, man.
Should I take the bag?
Yes, you can take your bag. Now we'll call Suraj to come forward. We've also known Suraj ever since he was a young boy. And he has decided that he will take his vows, initiation. And now he's a responsible householder with a wife and children. And although I remember you still as a young boy, still going to the camp in New Jersey, learning how to play mridanga. He's traveled with me in the former Soviet Union. And yes, he's traveled with me, as before. Traveled with me in Canada. And he entered household life and taking responsibilities in household life. And now he's continuing his responsibilities. And as we all know, he is the son of my first disciple, Chaitanya Guru Das. Chaitanya Guru and Sachi Mata both are very happy for this occasion to see Suraj come forward and making this important step and commitment in his life. So we'll ask you to accept your vows.
4 vows. No illicit sex, no eating, no gambling, no intoxication.
What was the second one?
No eating.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear the meat part. I just heard no eating. I thought some real, huh?
No meeting.
No.
And I promise to chant at least 16 hours.
Daily.
How often?
At 5 o'clock.
Thank you very much. So, on behalf of Srila Prabhupada and Guru Parampara, we have accepted you as an initiated disciple. And we've given you a name of Krishna, who is the Lord Master of all the Devas, the demigods, or Suras. Your new name is Sureshwara Das. Bhakti and Evelyn. Bhakti and Evelyn, she has been serving in Canada for many years and she's been serving in the temples in Montreal and Toronto. She's been an aspiring disciple for a number of years, and I know she's been wanting to come forward and to accept her vows and take initiation, and now we're giving her this opportunity to do so. And I'll ask you also to accept your vows in front of the deities.
I accept the vow to don't have illicit sex, no gambling, no meat eating, no intoxication, and to chant a minimum of 16 rounds every day.
Okay, thank you. So on behalf of Srila Prabhupada and Guru Parampara, we are accepting you as an initiated disciple. We have given you a name of Radharani, which means one who possesses love for Krishna. Your new name is Premavati Devidasi.
Premavati Devidasi K.
And
Congratulations.
I want to say that I'm very happy to see that Bhakta Chris is taking initiation today, coming forward and accepting His Holiness Candramauli Maharaj as his spiritual master. Sorry. And I certainly don't want to pass up the opportunity to say how happy I am to see this occasion as well. That you're taking shelter of a bona fide spiritual master who will give you wonderful guidance and friendship, and I certainly wish you the greatest fortune in your advancing in devotional service. So Maharaj.
Thank you. You can just take the mic.
Okay.
We've known him for a number of years. He's always been very eager to know more about Krishna consciousness, how to practice, how to become a devotee. Last year he went to Mayapur, and he got a real taste for Krishna consciousness. Ever since he came back from Mayapur, he's really blossomed in his enthusiasm and in his practice. So, Krishna, what are the the principles?
I vow not to engage in illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, and gambling, and vow to chant a minimum of 16 rounds of the Hare Krishna mantra daily.
On beats.
On beats.
Now I'm driving to work. I was thinking he really got a taste for Mayapur when he came back. He was very much, he changed completely in his Krishna consciousness. So in that respect, we give you the name of Lord Chaitanya. Actually, it's Chaitanya Nitai. I was thinking just Chaitanya, but why not both brothers? Both brothers. Chaitanya Nitai Prabhu.
Beads.
Oh. Actually, I chanted nice rounds on this. Oh, one thing I should mention, and this was told to me by His Holiness Jagapataka Maharaj, and so there's an absolute principle that we have after the 8th beat, we put a string, and Maharaj very clearly and proudly said, if you don't have that string, your beads are not body beads. Put a title of the string on that, which stands for the 8th principle. So those of you who also are being exposed, so please put your strings on. We're happy to, on behalf of Srila Prabhupada and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Assembly of Vaishnavas, to offer you this initiation into the Koyama, into the Gaudiya Sampradaya. Nice and loud, please, John. Hare Krishna. Congratulations.
Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Svaha Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Svaha Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Svaha We all chant word by word on Brahmana Devaya mantra 3 times, and at the end I say Swaha and you all put bananas. Don't throw, but just put it. Om Namo Brahmanya